Kia ora, welcome back to the Cero New Zealand Pro presented by Bonsoy. It's finals day, and after a magic afternoon yesterday to set up our men's semis and to get our women's final established, we are ready to go. We rocked up this morning, and that first light, it revealed an incredible lineup, pumping conditions here at Manu Bay, and the men's semi-finalists already gearing up and getting set to hit the lineup here. Chatting with Luke Cederman from the Ragland Surf Report. He said it's about a 7 out of 10 on the Manu scale here, so we'll take that. And already we've seen magic rides banked by the world's best, including a memorable 10-point ride from Yago Dori yesterday. So we're really looking forward to a lot more of that. Ronnie Blakey, Richie Lovett. Kia ora, Rich.
Kia ora, Ron. What a day yesterday, man. That was incredible. One
of the best, mate. And, yeah, I think we can expect to see a lot more because the conditions probably better than yesterday.
Yeah, as you said, we came down at first light and it felt like there was more energy in the swell lines. They were definitely a little further apart, which means it's a solid groundswell, so a little bit more wave height, I believe.
Bring it on. We're going to have a look at that incredible 10-point ride. Again, unbelievable clutch moment for Yago. Up against it, Cole Houshman was surfing incredibly well, had a couple of 8.5s. Yago needed a big score, and he found it.
Oh, he sure did. Have a look at this. Full rotation in the air, the full 360-degree spin. It's just such a clutch moment, Ronnie. Needing a huge score in the final minute, and for the world champ to produce this sort of surfing just shows how good this guy is and how deserving of that world title he is. And for me, it was the air to that layback hack combo that really cemented that 10-point ride. You just get a feeling, as a surf fan, as a surfer, as a competitor, you kind of just get this feeling when you know you're watching brilliance. And I think it echoed across the whole comp site. Everyone knew it was a 10. The judges didn't delay it. They threw it all down, unanimous across the board.
Yeah, perfect 10-point ride. And Yago keeps collecting these big moments. When the pressure is on, you know, he stands up and you know that you need excellent scores to beat him. Cole Houshman found that, but it still wasn't enough, amazingly.
Yeah, great to see Cole back in form after a bit of a horrid run through the first 3 events. 17ths across the board, but he found some form coming into this contest and put some really good surfing together. He actually had Yago on the ropes. He had the win with a couple of minutes to go, but Yago just went, no, I'm not having any of it, and got that 10. Amazing.
All 4 quarterfinals on the men's side, they were mind-blowing. Great matchups, big scores locked by all the competitors. And then we got into the women's semis and the big numbers continued to drop.
Yeah, they sure did. Carissa Moore, she was basically throwing away 9s as her scores, which was incredible. The conditions just went so buttery, almost like perfection. Exactly what you want here at Manu Bay. Slightly overhead. The walls were completely groomed, and Carissa just started to lay in to this power style of surfing, just manipulating her turns, really exploring what she can do on the backhand, and coming in and to be greeted by her husband Luke and daughter. It was just a very, very special moment.
She's on right on the precipice, Rich, of completing a fairy tale run as a new mum, travelling with her family. She looks unstoppable at the moment. She's got the 5 highest scoring individual rides of this contest. She's got the highest scoring heat score totals. And Sawyer Lindblad, chasing her first CT win, is going to have to muster everything she's got to overcome the 5-time world champ. But let's get the official word on what's coming our way this morning. A big good morning. Kia ora, Vaughan.
Thank you, Ronnie. Renato, yes, mate. What a day it was yesterday. A famous day for New Zealand surfing, a famous day for pro surfing in general. Every heat was a battle royale, all the way into, you know, capping it off with Yago's flat spin to perfection, and then Carissa Moore going nuts at the end of the day. Far out, you must be buzzing off your head. What's the call for this morning?
It is so warm this morning. On top of all that you just described, we have pumping surf, one of the biggest day, if not the biggest day of the window, 4 to 6 foot, some bigger sets. Offshore wind, the sun just rise. We have 4 hits to go to crown the champions here, and everything you're describing today in the history books for this event for sure. And for the tour as a whole, right? First perfect 10 of the year. Carissa 9.8, 9.2 combo for the 19. Hit total, and all the hits yesterday. Buzzes in the air, so we're going to be a great finals day.
Mate, it's going to be unreal. Let's do it. Let's dance our way out of this joint.
Yeah, we are ready to get things underway here. An amazing afternoon yesterday. Looking forward to more. And we know that this town Whangaroa is absolutely buzzing. Rich, we're staying on one of the main roads in town on the road out to Manu Bay, and there was cars buzzing past our place at 4 a.m. this morning. Out there in the lineup, we've got two incredible semi-finalists. Morgan Siblick, he's back in that event-winning form. Hasn't had a victory on the championship tour, but he's been winning some big heats on his road to this point. But he's going to need everything he's got, because Griffin Colapinto has been on another level, surfing with unbelievable flow and just looking so stylish as he sets the fins free, Rich, repeatedly down the line on each of his rides. No one on the backhand has thrown bigger tail flare than this guy. But this wave doesn't really pan out down the line. It gives Morgan the opportunity to win the opening exchange here. Saved his place in this draw with an incredible ride in the dying stages of his quarterfinal heat against Rio Ueda. And he looks to be well connected this morning. An early start, so unlikely these guys got out there before we got this heat underway.
No, I think the motivation this morning would have been to just conserve the energy, maybe get one or two with the jersey on as the water was clearing. But an interesting exchange. No huge fireworks for the opening rides. But as you mentioned, Griffin on the backhand, he has been incredible. Just really, as I said, manipulating this sort of backhand drift where he's been playing with the lip and looking really, really confident. But Morgan kind of found something towards the end of the heat yesterday. And let's have a look at the replay here. So a little tail blast for Griff, gets caught behind through this midsection. Now he starts to set the rails. Some clean work here. Off the bottom, off the top, but again, nothing really impactful on that opening ride. And Morgan starts off better. Clean snap to start things off. And again, so backs it up with a great combination. And a couple of backhand carve downs to finish off the ride as it starts to really head out into the bay and fill up.
Yeah, Morgan's an interesting study, isn't he? Because he's one of those guys that really, you almost feel a little anxious for him when he's surfing in heats that he should win. When he's up against a big name, a switch goes off in his head and he becomes a lot more aggressive and goes after his numbers. Clutch yesterday against Rio. The form that he showed coming through the event and in the free surf suggested he was going to trounce Rio in that heat. But it wasn't until the final few seconds that he actually turned the heat and got the score he needed to win.
Yeah, and I'm sure Nathan Hedge and Morgan would have evaluated that overnight and just said kind of that feeling towards that final moment of the heat. That's what you need to channel. Bring that into the opening moments of this heat and just really try and put Griffin on the ropes. Apply pressure from the start. But you're right. I think Morgan actually does compete well when he is under pressure, when he's up against the wall.
Well, a small win in the opening exchange. Not numbers we're expecting these two to be hanging on to at the end of this remaining 31 minutes. But he does win the opening exchange, 5-3-3. Griffin just a 4-1-7, but both these surfers with much more to give, and bigger numbers, of course, will come. Here goes Griffin, just pacing himself through the opening stages of this one, getting a feel for some of the bigger conditions that we've seen in the event window so far. Finals day is on. A couple of scores already on the board for these two competitors as Griffin continues with that smooth, silky flow down the line here. Needs some high impact hits, though, to turn this into a decent number. He's not going to find it on this ride.
No, again, more of the same for Griffin. And Tommy Whitaker on the screen looking a little concerned at the minute, but still plenty of time to go. Jet ski assist is in effect. As you see Griff quickly scramble up onto the back seat. He'll get a ride back out there, but let's have a look at the replay here. Streaking down the line. Quick check turn. Starts to set it up, sort of waiting for it to bowl up so he can really square up. But just clean rail work on the face. You referenced it yesterday, Ronnie, that, you know, sometimes he can be in danger of looking a little too smooth, almost like Parko used to do. He's got a knack of making the hard look really easy. But at the moment, hasn't had that opportunity to really square up. So let's hope that he can really identify. There's another thing to consider here is that this is new conditions that these guys really haven't experienced since they've been here. It's a bigger swell. The waves are starting to break on different parts of the reef. So they're kind of learning as they go through this heat.
Yeah, it's not lost on the judges, though, that Griffin motors down the line. Even though he's got that silky flow, maybe the smoothest backhand approach on the CT, he still drops the big numbers, the 2025 world title runner-up. You know, it just gives someone like Morgan Siblick, who just seems to move a little bit more erratically through his turns and has a lot of punch on the backhand, perhaps an opportunity to create a bit of a point of difference with the way he surfs.
Yeah, it's there's a little more punch to it and thud when he actually attacks the lip. But again, I go back to referencing just how controlled Griffin is in the moments in the lip, and the way that he does that little kind of almost weightless drift, that tail waft. And that's such a hard thing to control because your fins are actually detached for a moment. But he's been doing it so well the last couple of seasons, and incredible here through this event.
Yeah, I'm sure if you looked at the wave dynamics for the competitors, Griffin would be moving at the same speed, but his cadence through a ride remains almost the same. There's a bit more light and shade in the way Morgan approaches those backhand hits. Beautiful morning here. It is time to check out our mate in the lineup, Kaipo. What a way to start the day.
What a way to start a beautiful day here at Waikiki. It's amazing out here. We saw an amazing day yesterday of historic performances lining up for the same today. I'm so excited for finals day, Ron. And I would love to start the day with a Bruce Lee quote.
Bring it on.
Be water, my friend. Empty your mind and become shapeless and formless. Water can either flow or it can crash. I'll let you guys ponder that.
I love that, brother. And you have been water for 4 championship tour events now. A big thank you for your commitment to your role, and also the Water Patrol team, and of course Sam Smith bringing us those water images. Great job.
Yeah. Sam Smith, Ringers on the Ski, the water unit team, all the local ski drivers too have been incredible, and what a way to start off the tour.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what plays out here this morning. We'll be checking in with Kipes throughout the day. We want to acknowledge the mana whenua of this land, the descendants of Tainui Waka, and who continue to occupy and care for this part of the coastline. And what a beautiful part of the world it is. We have loved our time in New Zealand, and I think the fans have loved watching the world's best take on Manu Bay. Here goes Griffin, and it's an insider, but it's a little steeper. It lets him find that nice steep approach to these pocket sections. So impressive, the variety this guy brings on the backhand. He's one of those rare goofy footers who's used regular footers, sorry, to use turns to claim a championship tour win. Not too many can boast that. Here goes Morgan in response. There's been a lot of talk about that second wave in the set, typically holding up a little better. Takes a little bit off the water, off the reef and off the point here. Morg's just kind of working this one over, hoping it stands up again and runs through the inside. It looks like it will. Nice hit there. There's that punch that the stocky natural footer possesses as he comes rolling through to the inside and adding extras down the line. So 5.33 on his opener. Feels like he's going to win this second exchange as well. Yeah. And Nathan Hedge likes the start. A lot more positive than what we saw from him yesterday in the quarters.
Absolutely. It's a way better start. There's more momentum and feeling into the opening 10 minutes of this heat for Morgan Siblick, for sure. He does not look phased by just the enormity of his competitor. Let's have a look at the replay here. Connects with that first section. Streaking down the line, squares up again. So he's getting these vertical moments on the wave here. Little check turn. Beautiful open face slice. Great rhythm as he went off the bottom and off the top on that one, keeping that flow that we referenced earlier. I do like this, Ronnie, how he hunted down this inside section, because it had a couple of special moments in here. The additions, they might just be incremental, but this could count in the end. So a series of little vertical taps, slapping it all the way through the inside. This is keeping the judges entertained all the way through the inside section of this wave.
It's going to be interesting to see where the numbers go. You know, what we saw when we first rocked up was some quality set waves reeling down the line here. And this exchange, it was a battle on medium-sized rides. But Morgan definitely found some more high-impact sections to lay into.
And this is a replay of Griffin. Check turn to start off. Gets some speed down the line, connects with that moment. There's that little fin drift that we've been referencing. And again, rapid fire down the line. Just you can see Griff starting to just lower the stance a little bit, get in more of a power position where he's got more bend in the knees. Just harnessing a little bit more power off the bottom, also to compensate a little bit of that surface texture, that bump. We do have a slight Devil Wing cross shore coming up the face, as we've seen through most of the week. It's happening again this morning, but nowhere near as severe as it's been.
8th year on the championship tour for Griffin. And the 27-year-old has just come off his best ever finish on the championship tour. A magic run through the back end of last season to give himself a title shot. Morgan Siblick, he got himself a title shot in his rookie year. But then the following season was cut, and he's been battling away on the Challenger Series and getting so close for the last few years. Finally this year, getting the results he needed. Came home strong on the Challengers to earn his place back on the CT. But had a dreadful start to the year. He's turned it around here. An opportunity to crack another championship tour final for him.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. And potential for a maiden victory here for Morgan Siblick. You can see the results, 17s across the board. So as you reference, just a horrible start really in the scheme of things.
Yeah, the devastating thing for him was he finished in the top 5 on the Challenger Series. That meant he was avoiding that opening round, but the dud results through the first couple of events pushed him back into the cellar, and he had to fight his way from round 1 here, and he's done it well. I don't think anyone's gone from that first round through to the semis all season, so he is on a bit of a run here, Morgan, and he can be so dangerous when he's in that kind of form. But have a look at this guy, just so composed through his opening sections, and there's a nice hit there, setting up this one beautifully, but pushes that third turn as the wave flattens out and goes down. But the numbers in from that previous exchange, Rich, 493 for Griffin, 667 for Morgan, so yet another win there, a minor win we feel with so much time on the clock, but the rhythm's with him at the moment.
Oh, you can feel it. Just that little rail catch from Griff. Everything seems to be going in the favour of Morgan Siblick at the moment. And a real opportunity here with priority at the 20-minute mark for Morgan to really take control of this heat and try and lock Griffin down. But he's too good a competitor. Griff will come back for sure.
Yeah, Griff just eyeing one off on the inside. Still haven't seen any really sizable turns just yet, so I think Griffin's aware of that as he stalks this insider. The requirement at the moment, a 7.07 for the Californian.
Yeah, I was going to say, judges are always going to favour quality over quantity here. Looks like another inside chance here.
Yeah, just rolling the dice on this one, seeing if it stands up. Rips through the bumps pretty nicely. Bit of a wobble on that turn, but this wave is starting to stand up pretty well on the inside, and Griffin's got a good flow going, but it just doesn't have the energy that he needs to let go of those high impact turns. So he'll head back out to the takeoff zone and no doubt have a more patient approach to try and tap into one of those set waves. Let's head down to the Red Bull Athlete Zone with Vaughan.
Thanks, Ronnie. Here with Tom. Mate, yesterday was one of the great days, and Griffin's performance in that quarterfinal was elite stuff. Today the swells filled in a little bit more, and the boys are having a bit of a hard time trying to sort of identify which wave is going to stand up for them.
Yeah, like you said, the swell's still pumping through, Vaughno, but it's the low tide. It doesn't seem to enjoy the low tide. It's really hard to find the waves that stand up nice and steep to get that, explosive turns out of the top, which we've been seeing from all the boys. So Morgan's found a little steeper one, but not too much out there at the moment.
Give us a little idea into Griff's headspace last night. He's obviously frothing to make finals day here at the New Zealand Pro.
Oh, 100%. He loves surfing some backhands. So, we haven't get many on tour. So he's excited to sort of flare it up. We had a nice squad dinner, enjoyed some banter between the brothers and whatnot. And yeah, he's ready to rumble.
And mate, what about equipment? Obviously, it's a different wave face today.
It is. It's lower tide, so it's like different wave face. So it's actually softer out there. So there's bigger waves, but you don't really want them ones. So we sort of dabbled with half an inch bigger, an inch bigger, but in the end we stayed with the same board. And it's just navigating, trying to find that steepness of the wave. And it's not real powerful out there, but you just got to find the steepness to sort of get your job done.
And mate, Morg's sort of getting the best of the opening exchanges. What does Griff have to do to pull him back?
You just got to try and make him get another one and find the wave that hits that inside ledge, because Morg's just found one that had 2 steep sections. It's a funny wave. You're sort of almost taking a gamble off that ledge with what it's going to do down the line, and some do it, some don't. See what happens.
We know he can adapt.
Oh, let's go.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you, Vaughn. Yeah, Tom Whittaker, he's doing a great job with his little class of championship tour surfers. He's had a lot of success, a couple of world titles. Steph Gilmore, Katie Simmers, who's got Griffin, his best finish on the championship tour. And Griff, 5 CT wins as we take in the view from the 100% pure New Zealand flight cam. Just blown away with the commitment of this crowd, Rich. Through those trickier days, they were here in force, relishing the opportunity to snap up photos with the world's best, to get autographs, and to just really help elevate the performances here.
Absolutely, and it's quite an intimate setting too. The surfers are quite close to the action here. All the spectators getting quite low down on the rocks. And yeah, they can feel that energy for sure. Even this morning, man, there were people down here at the dark, which means a huge commitment, getting up early, probably at 4 a.m. to get on the buses down here. And they are loving seeing the world's best here at Manu Bay. Ragland has produced some of the most amazing surfing that we've seen on the tour in 2026. And this morning's action, it's not going to disappoint either.
Just over 17 minutes to go here. And set waves approaching, priorities with Morgan. And Griffin takes that inside position to help ask some questions of Morgan's priority and how he's going to use it.
Yeah, this is what happens too on these bigger sets. It breaks out a little further out on that ledge that Tommy Whittaker was talking about. But it'll sit down this wave and then it'll go again.
Morgan sizing up what was happening down the line. And like Tom Whittaker said, sometimes it's a bit of a lottery. You've got to get on your feet and ride that wave for a little bit to see if it's going to hit the inside rocks and run through and offer you some steep sections. But that one didn't eventuate. So smart wave selection from Morgan. When it felt like yesterday in the quarters he was over-selective, surfing so well. You know, we were kind of questioning what he was doing, Rich. He let a few waves go, and Rio was dropping good scores.
Yeah, absolutely. Made a few mistakes, but mistake-free at the moment.
Yeah, he's got a good look at section here. He belts it. That's the best turn of this semi-final heat so far, and combos it up beautifully with a solid hit. Now cutting back to the bowl, sticking with this one on his way to potentially the number of the heat. An unbelievable start, and this guy, when he gets the right head on, he can really lay into some big hits and some aggressive turns. Not a whole lot of work done down the line, but the opening combination was dynamite. And here comes Griffin now. We'll see what he got done on the outside in a moment, but he'll stick with this one. We'll see if he can make it through to the inside. Working that board over. He'll climb on the back of the ski, but a better exchange from these two.
Yeah, Morgan totally on point. He just looks energized. He looks like he is just keeping beautiful, clean rails as he mounts the ski and heads back out to the lineup. Griffin, we're not too sure what happened on the opening moments of his wave. Let's have a look at the replays. Here we go. This is our first look at it. Second wave of the set. Oh, Griff gets a little snap to drift. Kind of the under the lip carve, down the face. Again, it's just doesn't feel like it's standing up as much, but that section there was better. Gets down, sits Straight on that bottom turn to get back up there again, but again, a lot of S work on the open face. Feels like Morg's wave just stood up a little higher.
He just read it beautifully.
Almost a little fade, and he gets these 2 turns through here, pounds that section, just connects beautifully. Nice carve. Again, backs it up with a second. As we watch the slow-mo here, picks his moment. Gets that little tail release slide straight on the bottom turn again. Look at the concentration at that moment, just pinpointing that moment on that lip where he's going to hit it. Staying nice and low and compressed. Harnessing all that power through the bottom top turn combo.
Yeah,
beautiful flow.
This is only Morgan's 3rd ride. He has been way more patient today, picked his waves beautifully. Griffin a lot more busy. That was his 8th ride, waiting on the numbers to come through. More turns for Griffin, but it's pretty hard to beat a big opening combination like Morgan threw down. He might win this next big exchange too.
I feel like he will. I just think the intensity of those 2 turns, the transition, the flow, how smooth it was between them. He just looks so connected at the moment.
The numbers starting to roll through. They're looking really good for Morgan Siblick. Griffin posting his best number 2. We'll get you caught up on the situation in just a moment. It's finals day here at the Cero New Zealand Pro, presented by Bonsoy.
The Cero New Zealand Pro, presented by Bonsoy, is brought to you by Cero, made with 100% natural ingredients. By Bonsoy, the official milk of the World Surf League. By IC Sunglasses, official eyewear of the Championship Tour. And by Tourism New Zealand, official strategic partner of the Cero New Zealand Pro, presented by Bonsoy.
Morena, welcome back. We are seeing semi-final number 1 unfold here, and it's Morgan Siblick getting the jump on the favourite in this clash, Griffin Colapinto. He's tapped into that vintage form that's seen him through to a CT final in the past. He won the last exchange. It was a 7-6-7 for Morgan, a 6-3-7 for Griffin. And Morg's up again here on the attack. Seems to have found something in that final ride of his quarterfinal heat. As we see Molly Peckham and Nathan Hedge watching on closely.
I think Griffin had priority then, and he let Morgan go that wave, and he's really capitalised on it. The 6-6-7 is what he's trying to get rid of. This will go close.
Such an interesting heat. Their first clash, these two, but I think Griffin's certainly aware of just how strong a surfer Morgan Siblick is. Let's have a look at the replay and see what kind of work he got done. Great start once again.
Yeah, really good. A couple of vertical hits there. He's getting these nice pivoting turns off the top, but keeping that speed and always looking down the line to what's coming next. Just timing and judgment at the moment is right on. He's just placing the maneuvers at the exact moment that he needs to. Great choice of maneuvers as well.
Big set on the outside. And Griff has a look at it, but it doesn't eventuate down the line. Have a look at the numbers there for Morgan Siblick. Dropping in another 7.67. A lot of pressure on Griffin Colapinto now as we see the IC score update and the average from the panel. That is big, and he has been building beautifully on each ride with these 4 waves so far. Morgan Siblick looking deadly out here at the moment, True Starling.
Being on a tear at the moment. Griff's up now, but Hogg, he's started off really strong and just with attack mode.
Yeah, he's just picked the eyes out of got the right ways. Had such a good read on the lineup right now, so that's the main thing, you know. Like, come to this point in the event, need to be on the best waves, and he's definitely doing that so far. So stoked with that read he's had this morning. It's been tricky to know which one's going to do the right sit on the reef and do its thing, and he's picked 2 gems so far.
Was that a learning from yesterday? We saw an amazing buzzer beater moment from Morgs, but it's a little bit stressful to end those ones like that.
Yeah, I think we just took stock of the whole event so far, and we worked out, okay, finals day, what's the read on today, and we're going to need to be on the best wave. So it was just a little bit of a tidy up. He owned a few of his decisions yesterday. There's a few mistakes made, so something he wanted to button up and have a bit more composure and get himself on the right ways that could give him those bigger standout moments, and ideally the steeper ones through this middle bit here to get his turn menu, get upside down and go crazy. So go Morgs.
I was going to say, you're calm right now, but I know you're fizzing. Thanks for your time, Hogg.
Thank you.
Good on you, True. Yeah, Nathan Hedge, great championship tour competitor, had some incredible rides. Remember the 10 in Tahiti? But he has done a fantastic job with Morgan. And, I think Morgan's actually toned Hogg down in just a little bit, which has been good. He's fallen into the coaching role beautifully, Kaipo, and it's been such a strong start here from Morgan, completely different to his quarterfinal heat.
The ocean overall, pretty mystic, right? And a lot of times, because it's a moving playing field, we talked about water to start off the day, there is that factor of momentum and being in rhythm. And Morgan is the surfer in rhythm right now, and that's just the X factor, I feel, of surfing. Certainly, Griffin would have been the favored surfer in this matchup, but Morgan is just, can't put a foot wrong. Pair of 7.67s, and 7 minutes left with heat control and priority, looking good for Morgs.
Looking unbelievable for him. Yeah, it definitely seemed like the set wave slowed up a little bit once we got the heat started, but you know, some of these medium ones, Kipes, have provided some great steep sections for Morgan.
Yeah, it is the medium ones that you want. You identified that, Ron. The set waves are a bit husky, if you would, a little bit full. So you want to catch ones like this. Here's Griff taking off right now. Let's see if he can come back.
Yeah, a couple of nice hits to get started for Griffin. He showed us that he can be clutch as well in the first event of the season, where he semi-finaled. He drew the wildcard Dane Henry, and Dane went on a tear through the opening stages of their clash in the early rounds. And Griff just kept the coolest head and ended up turning the heat. So he's no stranger to that pressure. And he's one of the most headstrong competitors on the CT, bringing it through to the inside. Again, Morgan just is on one here at the moment. And with those big scores and a couple of those turns not working out, Griff way down the line, he can afford to kick out of that wave and get that priority back.
Yeah, and we're really coming down to it now. We're just under 6 minutes to go, so it feels like this heat is flying by. Morgan has just built so beautifully through this heat. Started with the 5, then got the 6, and then backed it up with pocket 7.67. So a perfectly surfed heat at the moment. And look at the wave count difference between these two guys. Griffin's surfed 11 waves. Morgan has made you know, his scores out of just 4 attempts.
Yeah, Hogg mentioned it. You know, he made some mistakes in the quarterfinals, Morgan, but it was his composure that was missing. He started taking medium-sized waves against Rio, kind of underestimating what Rio would do with better sets. Just And he was busy, he was too busy. He wasn't in position for those set waves, and Griffin has kind of suffered from the same thing in this heat. He's kind of panicked too early, taken inside rides, looked for air sections, and, you know, he just needs to get out there now and really wait for a high quality wave, because time has ticked by and there's less than 5 minutes to go. And right now,
well, this will be interesting to see if it looks like Griff will get back into the lineup and establish priority, which is going to be super important at this point. 8.97 is what he needs. It's basically going to come down to one wave now. And you're right, we talked about it. Tommy Witts referenced it. Wrestling back that momentum, that flow of the heat, it's been all the way of Morgan Siblick at the moment. So in the final 4 minutes, Griff needs to wrestle that, switch it around, turn it in his favour.
that's the little win that he needed. That's kind of really the first thing that's gone his way in this heat, is getting that priority on his side in the dying stages and having a shot. Dropped some big numbers yesterday. Needs an 8.97, and likely he's only going to get one shot at it.
We've seen Carissa Moore do it multiple times yesterday afternoon, getting it up into the nines on the backhand. Griff's going to have to bring that style of surfing. He needs to find that magic wave, though, first.
I think for a few years there, battling away on the Challenger Series, you've got to look at where Morgan Siblick was finishing. 2022, the year he was cut, he got to 12th position. He was just a heat win or two away from qualifying straight away. But that took its toll on him, I think, missing that spot by such a close margin. Drifted to 16th in 23, 19th on the Challenger Series in 24. But the interesting thing about Morgs is he was getting wildcard opportunities and going on heaters through Championship Tour events. 2025 at Bells, he had a semi-final finish. Margaret River, that same year, he had a 5th place finish. He also quarterfinaled in 24 at Bells. So he's kind of just maintained his position as a world beater, someone that can take down the biggest names in the sport. And when it comes to backhand surfing, as a regular footer, there's not a tougher draw than Griffin Colapinto at the moment, and he's really done a number on him in this heat so far.
Yeah, it's. I think I referenced it yesterday. For me, out of the natural footers, Griff's at the top of the pile in terms of backhand surfing. That creativity out of the lip, that control through that manipulating of turns, it's so on point at the moment. So this is huge. This is huge for Morgan Siblick to really get back get his year back on track and overcome one of the best competitors on the tour at the moment.
There is still a chance, though. The backdoor 2-minute countdown, it begins. A long 2 minutes for Morgan Siblick. And time's going to fly here for Griffin Colapinto. I think just a massive event already for Morgan. Getting to the semi-finals has helped turn his year around. He'll likely jump back up into that second round when we get to El Salvador. But for Griffin, he wants to crack a final. He wants to get himself right back up into that title conversation. Just sitting a little lower than he would like as Tommy Whitaker watches on here. Looks a little concerned at the moment.
He sure does. Griff started strong with that 3rd place down at Bells and then kind of slipped from there. This is a good result. Semi-finals, it's a keeper for sure in the world title scheme of things. But the wins, they're the ones, they're the big ones. You need those to counteract some of those lower scoring results that you get through the year.
And as strong as he was last year, he didn't get a Championship Tour win. His last victory was in Fiji 2024. He had a couple of wins that season. 5 CT victories in total. He really is starting to come on, but and I don't think he'll be too fazed by that. Of course, everyone wants the victory, but Griff just always keeps such a cool head, and what he wants is big results that are going to contribute to potentially a maiden world title. And he'll collect one here, even though it doesn't look like these set waves are going to roll through, and give him an opportunity to turn the heat in the final stages. If he's going to do it, he's going to have to do it on a smaller set, and this one might just slip under them.
Yeah, it just doesn't look like it has enough in it. Certainly doesn't look like an 8-point ride. The boy's not taking showing it too much interest as we count this one down, and it will be the Australian Morgan Siblick moving through.
Morgan Siblick comes from nowhere to crack his first championship tour final since 2021. We finished runner-up over there in WA, Wadjamup, Rottnest Island. And Morgan, he is going to be absolutely beaming. A much more composed performance, rock solid in the opening exchange, and he continued to build, ended up with pocket sevens for a win over Griffin Colapinto. We're going to find out who Morgan takes on right after the break. Will it be Iago Dora or Italo Ferreira, two incredible world champs who've been on fire through this contest? It's going to be one hell of a battle. Welcome back. Well, you know what time it is. It is time to reflect on Iago's incredible 10-point ride. What a moment for the crowd here on the beach. What a moment for the Brazilian who needed the big number and delivered in the best possible way.
Literally perfection. You're watching it here. This is yesterday afternoon. Iago Dora, the current world champion, takes to the air. Full rotation, helicopter spin, nice and high above the lip, and just greased the landing as smooth as you'll ever see, straight into a big layback hack. That combo itself, I think we all knew it was going to be 10-point ride at that stage, and he went on to just sizzle down the line.
Unbelievable, scoring himself a 110 from Yeti for the 10-point ride. And he was beaming. We knew that we were going to see unbelievable images, Rich, from that. People were capturing it on their iPhones. We're lucky enough to have Rambo Estrada, one of New Zealand's greatest photographers, one of my favourite follows on Instagram. He shot this moment and said that it was easily the best day of surfing he's ever witnessed, and a pretty special moment for him, having a front row seat to watch the WSL. And yeah, make sure you check out Rambo's book, Unbound Volume 1. And yeah, it is full of beautiful images of New Zealand. No one captures it better. As we get set for semi-final number 2 here, Iago is taking on Italo. Italo had some big airs of his own in his quarterfinal heat. So I think, as always, we can expect to see a lot out of these two.
Yeah, absolutely. The two goofy footers. We just had the natural foot matchup, or the regular foot matchup. Morgan Siblick getting the jump there on Griffin Colapinto. This one is going to be great. The two Brazilian world champions. You just know at some point they're going to take to the air. And I'm going to give the edge, Ronnie, to Iago Dora in terms of the face work, the rail work, the power. Italo, a more fast-paced, energetic approach. Perhaps will bring us more variety. But at the moment, that rail work that Iago Dora has been laying down, the judges have been really eating it up.
Yeah, Iago's warmed through the event so well, hasn't he? Dropping the biggest numbers, couple of 17-plus heats for Iago. Italo, he just blew everyone away with what he was doing in the lead up to the event getting underway. And his ability to manufacture moments in tricky conditions, you know, you've got to applaud it. He's got so much spark in his surfing against Miguel yesterday. You know, even though Miguel is very handy above the lip as well, you know, I think the strike rate for Italo is a little higher, and his ability to cover sections in transition down the line with his airs, land quickly on his toes and not lose touch with the face of the wave when he's so deep behind the section is pretty damn remarkable.
Super creative, a lot of movement on the board, a lot of footwork that happens too. You know, and his ability to reset, get himself back in position, coming off those transitions from the air is quite remarkable. We saw Iago do it yesterday, and these guys are all fired up.
They sure are. Well, Kaipo, you always referred to Italo as showtime, but Iago's been stealing the spotlight from him a little bit.
He sure has, and as we wait for this opening exchange, there is a bit of a dichotomy in this matchup, and we've seen it before with Jack Robinson working with Iago's dad, Leandro Dora, Italo Ferreira now working with Iago's dad, Leandro, and so it's kind of, in a way, it's a kind of a family affair, but there can only be one more spot in the final, so it's an interesting setup, the chemistry in this heat, if you would, Ron.
Yeah, Kipes, what's your take on the conditions? Who do they favour out there at the moment?
I can't walk away from Iago. I agree with what you guys are saying on the set. I just think he's got a well-rounded approach. Ooh, a little paddle there. How was that?
That was pretty intense. The fight for that inside position, and both surfers really locked in on the battle. Priority neutral at the moment, so that hustle for that first ride starts with getting the inside position. And that's the thing about these Brazilian greats, these world champions. They're meeting each other. They're knocking each other off now. There is a huge cast of incredible Brazilian talent on the championship tour, and we're seeing them meet up a lot this year.
Yeah, it's inevitable that these Brazilian champions are going to come up against each other at some point. Great to see them meeting in the semi-finals here. A little bit of hustle there at this point. Priority judge deeming it all fair in love and war at the moment. Just friendly fire, friendly hustle will get things underway. Potential here. Iago showing a little bit of interest, but these guys are way up the point, out of position.
Great start to the year for Iago Dora, a second place finish in his title defence. Not to be scoffed at, had a quarterfinal in WA, but a 17th on the Gold Coast, which has kept him back a little bit. But he is back in event-winning form, of course. And this guy, some big moments for him this year. A semi-final in WA. Other than that, though, a couple of ninths. This ride just has felt a little sticky off the top from the outside. And as a result, Italo's going to kick out of it.
Yeah, well, we're underway. Interesting that Iago almost relinquished priority there and just said, no, you know what, you can have the inside. And it's sort of worked in his favour. Italo taking the first one, the first wave, and it hasn't really come in as a good score. Just a 3-point ride. We know that these guys are going to produce much more than that. Let's have a look at the replay here. So down the line, Iago was looking at it, but on the inside, Italo takes off. The opening card was pretty good. Check turn here, just hits the brakes, sets up that second turn, but got stuck. And then the third turn down the line as well. A little sticky there as the wave just fills up. And Italo just opts to get back out of there. He knows that's not going to be a ride that's going to really factor in the scheme of things.
26.5 minutes to go. Just a throwaway score for Italo, a 3-point ride. These two are fighting for a place in the final against Morgan Siblick, who just really went to town and had a very strong heat from start to finish against Griffin Colapinto, Vaughan.
Morgs, congratulations, mate. Into the final here of the Cero New Zealand Pro, presented by Bonsoy. As exciting as yesterday's action was and as exciting as your buzzer beater was, you were filthy about the number of mistakes you made, the opportunities you let slip through. That heat was a completely different story, a 180, mate. You controlled it beautifully, and when the waves came through, you teed off.
Yeah, I mean, all the heats are hard, but I knew everyone's going mad. All the heats are so difficult, but just watching Griff yesterday and how he surfs on his backhand, I just knew that I had to surf a perfect heat today, and I just really wanted to pick the right waves and those ones that kind of had a little bit more steepness, and I don't know, I felt like I converted and just tried to control the heat. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't really give Griff an inch because he was dropping 8s like nothing yesterday. So it just feels amazing to convert on a heat like that, especially on a day like today. The waves are really fun, and yeah, it was very difficult to pick them. There's a lot of slopey ones, and I managed to get 2 steep ones, so I was stoked.
Yeah, so often, man, like when we think of your surf, and we love it when you're not thinking too much. We love it when you just sort of square up and tee off. But that heat, like, you controlled the rhythm of it by really just utilising priority perfectly. It allowed you to pick off the ones that weren't too much on the inside and were too flat or too wide on the outside.
Yeah, Hedgie and I just kind of had a bit of a chat pre-heat and a little bit yesterday about just how to control the heat and like picking waves and where to sit, and I felt like that just really paid off and like kept me like focused on one thing to do in that heat, and I don't know, it helped me convert and pick the right waves, especially just like sitting down the line a little bit just to control priority a little bit, and yeah, I don't know, it paid off, so I'm over the moon.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard are you going to rip into this final, Morgs?
Oh, 10 out of 10, mate. I'm that keen just to be back in another final on the CT and finally get the ball rolling this year. Like, yeah, it means the world to me, so I'm so over the moon.
Well done, mate, and a shout out to your mum and dad who have flown over as well.
Yeah, mum and dad are over here, and I don't know, I just want to say hey to my friends and family back home, and a shout out to my nieces, Jessie and Mariana. I know that they'll be tuning in, and yeah, just thanks to all the support back home and around the world, all the kind messages. It's been pushing me along and keeping me focused, so I'm stoked.
Have a great final, brother.
Cheers, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaughn. Yeah, Morgan Sibley, great to see him back where he belongs on the championship tour, and, you know, after a really difficult start this season, a collection of 17ths, he's got a crack at a victory once again.
It's a hard hole to climb out of when you're getting a string of bad results and you start to doubt yourself. The confidence starts to be eroded. So you can just see how he's buzzing. You can see how much it means to him to kind of be back up into that final series. And this will bode well for the rest of 26 for Morgs.
Well, what about this one during the interview, Rich?
So creative, isn't he? It's almost artistry. He just keeps bringing us these unique moments. This is the first barrel that we've seen. We heard about him, and Yago's found it. And does some really nice work here to just get on a steady pace. Waits for the wave to build up again, and I like this next carve coming up here. He starts to really dig in, lay into that rail. There it is. Just accelerating through that turn. So a couple of moments on that ride will get the judges excited. This is the first significant number that we're going to see in the heat.
Yeah, really taking his time to find that critical section. He didn't waste it, ripped in, and the number has dropped 6.33. So Yago dropping a really good score to kick things off. If Yago or Italo go on to win this event, they will take the yellow jersey from Miguel Pupo. If they finish second in that final, Miguel will still be in yellow when we get to El Salvador. On the women's side, if Sawyer wins the event, she'll go to number 2 on the rankings. Carissa Moore, we know she's not had the start that we thought she would on the CT. With a victory, she'll get to 6 on the rankings, but already making a positive climb, and I think reminding herself that, you know, she's one capable of repeatedly putting up excellent scores as she moves through the rounds of these championship tour events. 21.5 minutes to go here. And really waiting for this one to truly come to life, because as impressive as Yago's wave was, I mean, it's not like it was a thick, heaving barrel. It was just really cool to finally see someone get pitted on the ledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the opportunity was there. He saw it, just threaded the needle. And it's just looking at our competitors here. They keep looking down the line here. I think the sun is a bit of a factor here as it comes over the mountains. What we don't see on the screen as these surfers are riding the wave, the sun is literally in their eyes, and they're not only dealing with that, but they're dealing with well, it looks like we do have some sort of situation here.
Yeah. So our competitors making their way in for a moment. We'll go on hold for a second, but yeah, that glare is interesting. When we get here in the mornings, Whangaroa, the sun actually beams through the river mouth over the bar first light, and it is something to behold. But I think obviously there has been a situation here in the lineup. We'll update you on what's unfolding here at the moment. But when you look at the scores, really positive start for Yago. And it'll be interesting to see if that trend continues. Morgan won the open exchange, went on to kind of find himself on better waves and built nicely after the positive start.
Yeah, I come back to referencing heat rhythm. It's a real thing, and as a competitor, you feel it in that moment. And you can tell when your competitor has it and you don't. You have to try and switch it around. So that's what's going to have to happen here with Italo. He needs to, the next wave that he rides needs to be a good one. So we see the boys just jumping on the ski here. And it's always a little tricky when the heat gets stopped. We'll get some more information to you guys as soon as we have it.
Geez, it's shaping up to be a great finish to this contest, though, with what we've seen so far. And there has been a massive sort of balancing of what's happening on the Championship Tour rankings, Rich, as well, because, you know, you've got Carissa Moore on fire, Sawyer Lindblad. She's been on a bit of a roll through the last 3 events, so she's climbing her way towards the top end of the rankings. And on the men's side, some of those surfers that were really struggling to find form in the first 3 events of the season are now making their charge towards the top, and things are going to tighten up.
Yeah, it is, and that's what we want. We want multiple surfers taking victories on the tour. We want a real competitive world title race. And, you know, we've gone to this new tour format, Ronnie. We've seen that Final 5 format over the last few years, but we're going back to the extended tour, accumulating points. So consistency counts for everything on the tour this year. And we'll have our final showdown at the Pipeline Masters. And that's the tour that I competed on for, you know, a decade. And it felt good. You always finishing at one of the most treacherous and exciting waves on the planet. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, 10,000 points up for grabs in events through the regular season. The final event, though, the Pipe Masters will have 15,000 points up for grabs for the winner, and that just means a lot more people are going to be in contention mathematically heading into that final event. Let's have a look at that opening exchange for our competitors. Yago Dora banking a 6.33 here.
I love the purity of this turn here where he just ropes it around, lays on that hillside rail. It gets me excited because that is the fundamentals of a true power surfer. And I think that's what is going to give Yago an edge in this heat. If he tries to sort of match the energy and the fast-paced approach of Italo Ferreira, I think he's going to take himself out of his comfort zone. As we just look at the single ride for Italo Ferreira here, and a couple of sticky moments. And again, wave choice, just so important here this morning out here at Manu Bay. Incredible vision here of the point that has really treated us kindly over the last few days. We saw ideal conditions yesterday afternoon in terms of wave height, wind direction. It was perfect. And our surfers, they just went to town.
Have a look how pretty that picture is. Unbelievable. Our competitors on the beach. We have placed the event on hold. A shark was spotted in the competition zone. So an immediate hold, 15 minutes at least. Of course, the safety of the surfers and staff remains a priority. And we'll look to get competition back underway when it's safe to do so and the competition area is clean. But we got some big stories to dive into, Rich. Morgan Siblick, what a return for him. 3/17s to kick off the year, and you know, it's sort of getting to that point in the season after 3/17s where you start thinking, oh, maybe I should book a ticket to Bolito and start thinking about the Challenger Series as well and doubling down.
Unfortunately, I'd love to say that I was never in that position, but I was in that position a few times when I was on tour, and it's not nice. It actually eats away at your confidence, and your focus gets divided between, I'm all in on the championship tour, just let me do my thing here. You start doubting yourself and going, okay, I'm going to have to pivot. I'm going to get on a qualifying tour, the Challenger Series as it's called today. And it kind of, again, erodes your confidence, and that's a huge thing for these competitors.
Let's have a look at the matchup between Griffin and Morgan. Massive turnaround for Morgan. Just we knew that his surfing he'd reconnected with his surfing with that incredible buzzer beater moment in the quarters. But today against Griffin Colapinto, he was mistake-free.
Yeah, every single ride counting, and he built just so well. Started with a couple of mid-range scores and then got right up into the sevens. You can see why, just so connected. And we talk about being in the zone across any sport for any athlete. And Morgs, he was well and truly slotted this morning. Beautiful performance here. Loved how he squares up on the backhand here. And like Griffin has been doing so well, just getting these moments where he's staying in control, but drifting that tail, just showing creativity along the wave face. But for me, the timing was there. It was just pinpoint accuracy this morning.
It was. Yesterday, back against the ropes, quality set wave, he really had to risk it all and attack the wave with everything he's got. Today, he could kind of step back, size up his options, pick his moments beautifully, and paced himself through his rides really nicely. But you know he's got more gears that he can go to.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this second semi-final, the all-goofy footer affair. Again, yesterday in the post-show, we talked about the goofy footers and the airs that they've been bringing to the table at this event, and I think that's going to be a really hard one to peg down once Morgan does meet one of these goofy footers in the final. So he's going to have to bring everything that he did to Griff and then something more, something maybe a little bit more creative on the back end.
Yeah, most definitely. Of course, the opening exchange won by Yago. There was a shark spotted in the area, so we're on hold for a bit until the competition area is clean and safe for the competitors to return to the lineup. So they'll stay warm here. Yago just taking a moment. Morg's already in the hot tub, enjoying himself here.
Well, the equipment and everything that New Zealand has to offer here as a competitor is pretty special. These guys have a hot tub, they've got ice bars, they've got saunas on hand. The catering has been great. A beautiful viewing platform for all the surfers and the coaches. So they're pretty well looked after, these guys.
They sure are. We're going to take a quick break here on finals day of the Cero New Zealand Pro, presented by Ragland. And presented by Bonsoy. Sorry, we'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
This has been my view for the last 30 odd years now. Grew up here, born and bred, very lucky. Obviously Ragland's a bit of a surf town. Cute little cafes everywhere. It's a beautiful little town to grow up in, and we're very, very lucky, and it's very special. Dad started surfing out here and he taught me how to surf here. It's a very small community. You get to know everyone. Everyone's very family orientated. Ever since I started surfing, the community's been awesome to me. Followed my journey around the world. For the last 15 to 20 years, I get to compete and kind of give back in a way and hopefully make my community proud and my country proud.
Welcome back. Well, it is a beautiful morning here once again in New Zealand for the Cero New Zealand Pro presented by Bonsoy. We're on hold at the moment. We're going to get an update on what is unfolding out here at the moment. We're going to throw it down to Vaughan with Renato Hickel.
Thanks, Ronnie. Renato, yeah, wild scenes down here. Obviously, the protocols go straight into place. Can you please fill us in on what's happening?
Yes, the first time we activate the code red when it's a sea life attack in a surf or water photographer. This time it was our beloved water photographer Ed. Thank God he's in good spirits. He's well considering what happened. Minor, small puncture wounds, and he's already on an ambulance on his way to hospital. We put the event on hold, and we're going into a low tide. So next call to assess, we're gonna resume this heat between Iago and Italy will be at 12 noon for a possible 12:35 a.m. start, a p.m. start on the other side of the tide, and hopefully we can wrap the event today.
Thank you, mate. Obviously, you know, the priority is the safety of the surfers and the staff who are in the water, but so far the news is good out of this incident.
Yes, at this stage we're not certain it was a shark or a sea lion. The doctor that is helping here on the scene, it's inclined to think it was a sea lion instead of a shark. Nevertheless, very scary. Italo and Iago obviously are shaken. They saw the splash and the incident, and so another reason to put the event on hold till after the low tide. On the other side of the tide, we access conditions, and as I said, hopefully we can wrap the event today.
Awesome, mate. Thank you so much for that update.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vaughan. Thank you, Renato. And wow, that is intense. So a situation there, still yet to get the details, but we're hearing that Ed is in good spirits and on his way to hospital at the moment, which is fantastic to hear. So we'll be on hold until 12, possible 12:35 start. We heard it from Renato in the Office of Tours and Competitions there. And we're still hopeful that we'll be crowning our champions here at the event today.
Yeah, we've just got to assess conditions, and obviously the priority is to make it safe for not only our surfers, but we've got other people in the water as well. On the ski, we've seen Kaipo out there. We've got photographers in the water to bring you all the amazing pictures that we do. So we'll just take a breather and come back and check it out. I mean, the good news is that it appears that everyone's okay at this stage. We're going to get that low tide, and then we know that as that incoming tide starts to draw in, it'll pull more of that swell in. It'll give the opportunity for this wind to lay down a little bit better. We've seen religiously the wind switch around to a better direction as we get into the early afternoon. So perhaps we'll come back and the conditions will be mint.
Yeah, the big conversation really was, you know, are we going to get going before we bottom out on the tide? And with the waves that were rolling through this morning, it was a pretty easy decision to get competition going, but we're always sort of thinking, wow, it's so good in the afternoons as well. So, you know, let's hope those conditions do improve. But this guy is beaming. Morgan Siblick back into a championship tour final, and we're going to have a look back on that first semi-final. A huge matchup for Morgan as well.
Yeah.
Griffin looks so much more convincing in the quarterfinals.
He really did, and I dare say a lot of picks would have been in Griffin's favour, but Morgan was just on point. His wave choice impeccable this morning. Just found those waves where you could really square up, get that backhand attack, and really sort of brought this brand of surfing that Griffin has been laying down over the last couple of seasons. And anyway, ended up with two 7.67 rides and really closed and locked Griffin out of this heat. Just had full control from the opening siren.
He came off the Challenger Series and just looked raring to go. But one thing that we kind of kept observing about Morgan is he just sort of seemed to be overthinking things a little bit. He definitely had tricky conditions when he was surfing and losing out in those earlier rounds. So on this, in this particular event though, in the tricky conditions, he was still putting good numbers up. So he has definitely found something, and you know, just looks a little less in his head during his heats and getting back to that attacking form that's seen him semi-final, final, and obviously turn in some massive results.
Yeah, your head noise, the thing that's sitting between your head can often be your worst enemy. I mean, we play a lot of golf. Have one swing thought, and Morgs was saying in the post-head interview, I just focused on one thing, and that was just to get the best waves. If I get the best waves, I can just settle into my style of surfing and put it on show, and that's exactly what he did.
It's the final day of the event window, and we have still got to get through that second semi for the men to set up the men's final. The women's final is incredible. Sawyer Lindblad, Carissa Moore, coming off the back of just one of the most magic days, afternoons that we've had all year. So many highlights to dive into. We're going to get back on air at midday and make a call for a 12:30 start. Don't miss a second of it and enjoy the highlights.
I got